Well, thanks for tuning into Talking Point. I'm your host, Niraj Shah. We talking about a space that suddenly seems to be in the thick of things. Not that people didn't know about it, but the commentaries in investor conferences over the last couple of months from arguably our guest today, from another large IT vendor based out of Noida, mid-quarter uptick in guidance, to TCS doing what it did yesterday, and the commentary that they gave about this being the first start of they being at the start of the first phase of a multi-year transformation in the space, brings us or leads us to this conversation today with Sanjay Jalona of L&T Infotech. He joins us right now on the show. Sanjay, good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Hope all is safe.
All's well, Niraj. Thanks for having me here.
No, the pleasure is ours. Sanjay, can you give us a sense of how do you read the tea leaves? Because uh, you know, when we speak to investors who've looked at this space for the last 15 years, they just can't seem to believe that this time is different. They always say that this will happen for a quarter or two, and then it'll cool off a little bit. Whereas companies are giving us an indication, at least the TCS statement yesterday seemed to give an indication that this seems to be a start of a really long run and maybe phase 4 of IT. Give us a sense of how are you looking at the situation?
Look, if you had asked me in late February or March that we would be at this position at this juncture, I don't think my answer would have been exactly this. But I think technology has been a savior of sorts in the most difficult of times for the world. You would have heard many people, including Satya Nadella, talk about the speed at which digital transformations have expedited the world over. And fundamentally, technology has been a savior because every industry needs to operate very differently. They had to change their target operating model. And that has created many an opportunity for the IT services company, which typically, we have been written off many, many times over the last 25 years. There is a way to bounce back. If the fundamentals are right, if you focus on the right things, I think that's what we are seeing. As customers of ours need to do more direct to consumer, as they need to change target operating models, as they need to modernize the workforce and work places, as they need to save more money and invest probably in cybersecurity, this has opened a plethora of opportunities for IT services companies to partner with their customers. And that is what we are seeing. Now, obviously, there are lots of unknowns with COVID still there in the marketplace. So what happens and how long, I think it's yet to be seen. All I can say today, I think there is an increased deal flow. There is an increased requirement to partner with our customers today in the marketplace. And that's exactly what we're seeing all across.
Okay. Is it possible to try and kind of crystal ball gaze as if to whether this could be a long-lived phenomenon which could recur in nature, recur consistently over the course of the next few years? And part two of my question would be that let's say you were doing or you were traveling on path A. Are right now paths B and C also opening up parallelly so that you have actually much more to travel in for a longer period of time? If my question is making sense, yeah.
Look, I think, Niraj, there are a lot of uncertainties in the marketplace. Let's not take that away. There are, job losses happening everywhere. There are people suffering, which is of extraordinary nature in the world. There are many more deaths than we ever expected it to be, right? But having said all that, companies need to operate in the new model. Companies need to invest in their businesses, and that is exactly what we are seeing. Where we stand today, I think the book is good. The discussions are happening with the customers. If you have a good idea, I've always said that, but I'll even say even more now. If you have a good idea, customers are always ready to listen and find you money if it's going to help him operate in the new world. And I think if the discussion continues, if we continue innovating, if we continue investing in newer things, newer technology, newer ways of doing businesses, I think we will see a lot more. See, if you look at it from our viewpoint, there are 4 go-to-market themes that we typically talk about. There is operate to transform, which helps you run cheaper, faster, so you can take the money out and invest in newer areas to focus on. That's really important today. Second is digitize the core, which is basically change the new operating model. How do you change to do things in the new ways of that are required in the marketplace? Data-driven organization is the third theme for us, which is how do you use data? Data is the hottest property today. And last is experience. How do you give experience to a consumer who is not used to companies operating and connecting with you in the old ways, in the new model? Right? Look at the insurance company. They need to have an omni-channel experience with you and I today, which did not exist in the past. So these themes are very important, and these are very important areas where customers will continue to investing in times to come, I believe.
Okay, so actually, your answer makes gets me thinking. I was talking to HDFC Life. I mean, no, yeah, this was an on-air conversation, and Vibha Padelkar said that we are now an insure tech company. I think
Absolutely.
so Bajaj Finance has been saying that they are a fintech company for some time now. My question is therefore, do you reckon more and more organizations become their core business plus tech enabled, and that opens up doors for businesses such as yours or your peers in the Indian IT space?
Oh, absolutely. You're seeing it not only with IT services company, but you're seeing with Google, Amazon, Apple. Everyone is trying to do a lot more than they typically did in the tech world. We would see more and more proliferation, more and more companies trying to be relevant to the consumers as they understand the business. The big differentiation for IT services company operating out of India is we understand the vertical businesses of the companies. And that is, if you start from there, then you know what you need to digitize. And that's where we separate.
So would you believe that it will be a newer way of run the business opportunities that will really, snowball, because so many other companies will have to do this? And if that is the case, would they come at, for lack of a better word, average margins, or could they come at better margins?
Look, margins is too far. The deal pricing, I think it totally depends on demand versus supply. If there are difficult to find skills, you are always able to get premium pricing for that. But I think the market overall, I think today, if I look at it, the opportunities are there. I think they will be there for some time. Obviously, what happens with these uncertainties in the marketplace? How do our customers perform in their respective businesses? How do one industry performs versus the other is something which will evolve over a period of time. But where we stand today, I think there is plenty of opportunities in the marketplace.
Okay. Now, you were arguably the largest, amongst the larger IT firms present in the country, having a very large digital ops presence, right? And that got the buzzword ever since a smaller peer of yours got IPO'd, right? Because they said that, hey, we are 100% digital or 96% digital, and suddenly the comparisons started getting made with global companies as well. My question to you is, therefore, do you as a company, do you foresee that you will take your company consciously to a higher percentage of digital business revenues? How would that work? Why would you do that? And what are the targets / areas that you want to focus on?
Niraj, while we also comply with the nomenclature that's become the standard in the industry, but anybody who has been a student of computer science, like I have been, understands that computer is all about digital. It's all about 0 and 1. There's nothing analog about it. I actually like a term called exponential technologies. You got to be using exponential technologies in whatever you do. Customers are not going to invest and spend on technologies of the past to do any change in their business or operate in the new model. So typically we have seen 5 areas of investments that companies typically do: automation, digital aka experience, analytics, IoT, and cloud. Cloud has really gone through the roof during COVID because any company which had operations in cloud has operated a lot better than some companies which have not been on the cloud. So I think we believe these opportunities will exist. I think in times to come, this nomenclature of digital will disappear. All you will look at is how is the company growing? Because if you are not focused on digital, you will not grow. Right? If you're not focused in exponential technologies, you will not grow. So that nomenclature, and some companies have stopped giving those guidances and numbers on digital because it doesn't make any sense anymore. And this will happen more and more because you will typically look at how are you growing as a company. You can only grow if you're relevant to the customer, investing in newer technologies, if you're growing your analytics, advanced analytics pieces of business, if you're growing your enterprise integration pieces of business, if you're growing your experience kind of businesses. So once you know this kinds of categorization of activities are growing, you will know that company is investing in the right things.
I would presume, Sanjay, that when you are saying this, uh, uh, Rajesh would be knowing this and saying the same thing with that organization that he's leading, or Ashok Sutta might be doing it, or Nandan might be doing it for his organization. So I'm guessing all of you and your peers, all of you would be doing all of these things. And therefore, is the question about a company like LTI being able to differentiate itself vis-a-vis some of the peers? Or is it that the opportunity size suddenly, because of the post-COVID world being so tech-enabled, so large that everybody will be able to grow and there won't be people trying to eat out of the same pie?
You've spoken about some really large companies and spoken about smaller companies as well. And I think everyone does their own thing and invest in the areas. I have a lot of respect for all the names that you took there. Frankly, it boils down, I think there is enough market opportunity if you have a good story to tell. Now, the story is important if you focus, if you focused on the right verticals. And we have decided that we will focus on fewer and fewer things. We don't do many verticals that large company does. The question is, can you be relevant and compete with the best in, say, finance, risk, and compliance, in an investment bank, doing data lineage? I think customers are not hiring you for scale anymore. Customers are hiring you for expertise. And if you expertise in smaller areas where you can help customers work with them together, co-create, collaborate to find a solution for the new operating model, I think that's the differentiation. That's what separates us and probably creates us as a challenger in the marketplace.
Okay. I'm borrowing this out of a note, and I don't know. I mean, if you are in a silent period and you can't talk about it, it's fine. But I'm just using this to check. Apparently, at an investor conference, LTI had said that it's too early to project growth for the next few years because there are too many moving parts in the system, which you highlighted right now. At the same time, some of your peers are saying that they are getting back to talking about growth for multiple years. And at sometimes people who are not giving guidance for FY21 looking to give guidance as well. Where is the difference?
Look, since we have gone public 4 years back, we have always said earlier, because of digital, what you call digital or what I call exponential technologies proliferation in the industry and in our customer space, there were things which were changing very, very rapidly. Project sizes were coming down, the team sizes were coming down, and many things were happening. And this is why we have all never given the revenue guidance ever, right, for the last 4 years since we've gone public. But we have always given the margin guidance. But we have also clearly at the same sentence said that we would like to be the growth leader for the industry in the growth quadrant, if not be the growth leader. And that's what we have shown in the marketplace. We will continue to invest, continue to grow faster so we can invest back in building capabilities for a customer. This model has worked. We feel very confident that we will be able to continue to be in the growth quadrant. Our results are on 20th of October, and we look forward to interacting at that time on the results.
Yeah, fair call. Okay, so let's leave it for that. Just a couple of questions again, if you are able to or in a position to be able to say. The headlines, especially in April and May, were that IT would be one space which will see so many people being able to work from home permanently. And my interactions over the years with companies seem to suggest that one of the things that takes mind space and margins away is the whole employee management, because employees are the life and blood of an IT firm. And if that is actually shifting to work from home, even if it's 15%, 20%, 25%, what have you, it's a big margin tailwind for any IT firm. Would you second that?
I am not sure about any movement on margin. There are many investments that go in making people work remotely. There are many additional steps that one needs to do separately. And I fundamentally am not of a view that we will completely go 100% remote any point of foreseeable future as well. I think we need a social fabric. We are working very well because of the social fabric that has been built over the years, and that has taken us for a while. But if we have a need, we are not in an individual sport, we are in a team sport. There is a need to work together. I think margin is not important. I think we need to make sure we focus on the right thing. How do you work on building capabilities, continue to invest in capabilities when your workforce might be forced to work remotely? You need to focus your energies on how do you ideate, collaborate with customers to find solutions for them. How do you partner? How do you acquire capabilities? How do you build new partnerships in these changing times? How do you understand with customers and do transitions completely when you have never physically met the customer face to face? There are many, many more challenges. Margin is not top of my mind. Obviously, we'll optimize any real estate that we could possibly use. We will, we will focus on all operational efficiencies that comes to our hand. But the important thing is to focus on customers, keeping our promises there, and employee safety. These are important things that we need to focus on.
No, of course, without a doubt. I was not suggesting that you would do one over the other. I was just wondering if it's collateral benefit that comes in along with. Okay, point taken. Just a follow up to that then, Sanjay, and which is many a times company adopt strategies that get your foot in the door to clients, even if it comes, as you said, at the cost of margins. But if you get in there, then over a long term period, there is large business to be won. Do you reckon that we could be at a phase like this, wherein more enterprises, newer sectors, etc., might come in, and companies like yours might put, in order to get the foot in the door to a large client, let go of margins for the time being, but get high transformational deals going with a large TCV, which helps you get visibility?
I don't think COVID has anything to do with it. Every time, and this is for any time in the last 30 years of my experience in this industry, if there is a right investment to be done for a long term, we have never shied away, and we will not shy away. COVID has nothing to do with it. We will continue. The urgency has increased. The time to market requirements for customers have increased, and we'll continue to look at it even faster.
Okay, last question, Sanjay. Is this any different? I mean, so fund managers say this seems like a Y2K moment, right? That's the easiest way in which people who are bullish on the IT space describe why they are bullish. My question to you is, in your 30 years, you would have seen multiple moments, maybe not as pronounced as this, less pronounced or more pronounced. How different is this current point of time from an IT leader's perspective for the next 5 years versus any that you've seen in the past?
Niraj, I think it's also a point of time for an individual as well. I was a lot younger and a lot foolish, if I may call myself, at Y2K time. It's 20 years hence, and the role and responsibilities I have are way different. But if you really look at it, there are many opportunities that come our way, but the world has never experienced anything like this ever before. Again, I say, when I look at where we are today compared to March, I think IT industry, the teams, the character shown by the employees, the leaders, the industry, the customers has been super, right? Everyone has come together to find a solution to problem. If you would ask me if something was like this had happened in March, I would have never imagined we would have been in this place. So on that note, I think we have done well. Industry has done well. We have bounced back again, but we need to continue to be paranoid and continue to invest in building capabilities for the future.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best for that. And as you said, once post your results come out, maybe we can talk some numbers too. But this gives great color, Sanjay. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is ours. And viewers, thanks for tuning into this edition of The Talking Point.